All right, everybody, good morning and welcome to today's open forum. Hopefully you guys are excited about today, excited about the market starting to pick up a little bit. We're seeing a little bit of pickup in the market. Hopefully you guys are excited about that. If you can't put your cameras on, please do. I would love to see your faces. I'm going to be sharing the screen here in a little bit, but I'll only be able to see the people who have their cameras on. So appreciate any kind of feedback you guys can give me, and also any kind of questions or comments as we go along. Don't feel free to interrupt, put a hand up when you have a question. Anybody want to share what they're seeing in the market right now before we get started? Anything exciting going on in the market? You guys seeing multiple offers? Are you making multiple offers? Are you having a hard time with anything? Are you having a hard time getting excitement about a listing that you have? What are you guys seeing out there? Nothing too exciting?
Both. Some are multiple and some sit.
Yeah. What do you think there's any, are you seeing any kind of pattern to the ones that are multiple and the ones that are sitting? Or is it just kind of random where you don't know what's going to do what?
I think it might be location, condition, price.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking that in particular right now is because as we go over these listing documents, when you go into a listing appointment, what are you telling people? How long do you think, because they're going to ask the question, how long do you think we're going to sit on the market, right? Or how long do you think this thing's going to take? That's a question they're asking you a lot, right? I see you just muted yourself, Tammy. What are you saying to people now when they do that?
I'm bowing out.
I know you don't want to answer that question, but that's why we're having this conversation, because that's a hard question to answer, right?
Right.
Because you don't want to be a liar. You don't want to say, man, this property should be hot. It's a great location. You guys have it in great condition. Love what you've done here. This is a beautiful property. I think it's priced right. And then it sits on the market for, 95 days.
Right.
And then what do you say, right?
Right.
Because there isn't. I'm not seeing any rhyme or reason to why properties are sitting and why some aren't. And some of these, you guys are like, oh, I've got multiple offers on this one. And I'm like, really? How? I didn't think it was priced that great. And I didn't, so it's I had a home here in my neighborhood that I thought it was a little overpriced. They did lower the price by just $5,000 and it sold pretty quickly. For more than I thought, which is great for me, but it sold for more than I thought and pretty quickly. I had no idea. I thought it would take longer. I thought they had overpriced it and it would take a little bit longer. So you just don't know.
I paid for there's a part in showing time that you can pay extra and it will give you a pricing range. And it was actually really interesting on my last listing I went on. It will tell you the amount of buyers that are in a particular price range. So this was going to be $775. So the amount of buyers in that price range were here, but the 5 to 6 something or other, there were a lot more buyers. So that really helps showing the seller the amount of buyers in a particular price range. You're not going to get as many buyers looking at this house because that price range is not as popular of a price range.
Right. Well, it's the pyramid, right? It's always been the pyramid of buyers. And that's helpful when they're at the top of the pyramid. It's not helpful when they're they're 350 right now where everybody can buy it.
Right.
The big part, then they expect more. But yeah, when you get into those higher ones, the people that you would have to have that conversation with anyway to say, look, and those are the same people say, well, we could rent it out. You say, you think the pyramid for buying those is small. Wait till you see the pyramid for people who can rent that and don't want to buy their own place. So I think this is very, very important. And that's the kind of thing that is very important that we want to talk about. But I think, guys, in this market, because we don't know, because it's not 2.5 years ago where you couldn't keep a listing for a week without having to create a spreadsheet for all the offers you got. And then a complete buyer's market where things will sit for 100 days. And some of these are sitting for 100 days. It is so important right now that they know they're getting the best representation they can get, and you're getting it out there for them, and you're contacting them and staying in their face throughout the listing process, even if they're home sitting, if they're not getting showings. That's when they need you more. That's when they need you to reassure them more. And you have to create your value or demonstrate your value even more, is when these properties, you don't know how long they're going to sit on the market. And when you sit down and you look a seller face to face, and they say, how long do you think this process is going to take? You're going to give them some kind of answer. I love, that's when you go through that. I love what you guys have done here, but we just don't know. Right. Go ahead, Tammy.
Yeah. So this particular listing, sometimes I think, well, maybe I'm not a good negotiator. I don't know, but it's priced at $775. We got an offer for $750, which I think in this market, they're like, no, we only want to come down 5,000. And so it's kind of hard for me to not be on their side because I look like I'm not wanting them to get as much for their house as they can, but I'm like, oh my gosh, you're at $775. You're probably overpriced, honestly, I think. But they think kind of differently. So I'm more like kind of go with the flow with them. And I don't know how to, if I should tell them my opinion. They didn't really ask for my opinion. So, I'm thinking, wow, you're lucky. You should. And we've been on the market 2 weeks. So 2 weeks, this is a first offer. I think I would try to make it work. But I almost think that they would let it go away if the people didn't want to come up any more than the 750. They're off 25,000. So how would you handle that?
I would handle it exactly how you're handling it, but you are always on the seller side.
Yeah.
I respect that. This is great. It's awesome that you got them an offer for $750 within 2 weeks. That is fantastic. That is something you can always lean on throughout this process. If they have to drop the price in the future, I got you an offer in 2 weeks for $750. I mean, you're not going to say that to them, but they're going to know that, right? So if they end up selling this thing 3 months from now for $760, it's not going to be your fault.
Right.
That it sat on the market for 100 days.
Right.
It's going to be their fault for not negotiating this one to $765 and selling it.
Yeah.
Both sides are going to want to win. I don't feel like I won if I offer someone $750 and my realtor's seeing the same numbers that you're seeing, right? So my realtor, Daryl's representing me in this, and Daryl's telling me this house, they want $775. I think it's worth $758, $760. Let's offer $750. That's what Daryl's told me to do. He's my representative. He's on my side, right? So I offer $750 and you come back at $770, and Daryl's going to say, let's see if we can get it for $760. They're pretty serious about this, right? So you guys want to go up to $760? And I'll say, sure. And because we both want to win at this point, and I don't want to pay more than Daryl's told me it's worth. I mean, and under no circumstance I want to pay more than he's told me it's worth, unless I just love the house. But so both sides are going to want to win. So what you've done is great. You've established an offer. That's a baseline right now, $750. If this thing sits on the market 100 days, $750 is not your baseline anymore. You're going to get $740 offers and $730 offers.
Right. Do you feel that the philosophy of it's best to try to work with the first offer you get? Like, I mean, to me, you've had a couple of open houses. This is your first offer. To me, you would kind of want to try to make it work, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would. Of course, you want to try to make it work. But right now, you've got nothing to do but counter at $770. I mean, that's all you can do.
Yeah,
you can't control your sellers. You want
to know the worst part? Oh my gosh, this was going to be a question later. So the contract I got was from somebody that I don't know that they speak English. And it's like maybe, I don't know if it's Vietnamese, Malay, whatever. I don't know what. So first text I got was in another language and I had to translate it. And then now he's texting me. I think it's a he is texting me in English. This was my question. The offer I got did not have had nothing on the contract except the buyer's name, the legal description area, and the money part. Nothing else was filled out, and signature and initials. So should I, like I had another one, I got 2 in a row. So when I got on another listing, I went back and told him line by line what he needed to do. And so do I go through the contract and fill it all out and have them initial every spot that he did wrong? Or do I tell him you've got to do all of this on all these lines, please redo the contract and resend it to me? I don't know how to handle that contract. And I'm like dreading dealing with this person if this is, his level of knowledge.
of understanding a
Yeah.
contract in English. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think the contract is probably legal the way he sent it. He does know that he's not represented, right? You're dealing directly with the buyer, right? There's no other agent involved.
The agent that sent me the contract is the buyer's agent.
So an agent sent you a contract like that? That
Yeah.
was completely blank? Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's interesting.
My
Well,
second
I
one.
think
Oh my gosh.
I would have to look through that contract, but I think that every blank says something if left blank. I mean,
Okay.
that's what I'm talking. In fact, what we're going to talk about a little bit today when we go over this listing
All right.
a little bit is not to leave things blank if you can help it, or if they apply at all. I think the contract, I think every blank says what to do if it's left blank.
Okay.
You know, from the inspection to, I think every term on there says what to do if left blank. That's terrible business. You know, maybe, you know, are you sure you meant to turn this in? You don't want to write the contract for them though. Now you're putting yourself out there where you don't need to be. If they have representation, if they didn't have representation, I thought the buyer was texting you directly.
No,
This is the buyer sent you that.
No, that's the agent I'm dealing with.
Okay, and the agent has a brokerage, obviously, it's the law.
Yeah.
Can you? I might want to contact their broker and say, you know, this is the contract that was sent by your agent. I just want to make sure this is what they meant.
Okay.
Because if the agent doesn't speak English, the broker should be overseeing the contracts that they're sending out.
Yeah.
Daryl.
But if the inspection period is implemented by what's on the contract, you're working for your seller. So I would definitely reduce.
No, I would definitely change that. I would counter that spot. Yeah.
So I think that's the thing to do is counter. Just counter everything. Take it for what it is. Everything that's left blank means a certain amount of days and a certain amount of this and that. Just counter everything. Because I mean, the things that you don't like, counter them. Like
he did check conventional and fixed. I think and that was it. I think, yeah.
Okay. Well, then, you know, if you want to make sure they're paying attention, change it to 25 days loan approval. Change it to 7 days inspection. You know, reasonable things, but in your seller's favor. Nothing crazy. You know, you're not trying to take advantage of them. But I mean, they have an agent that should know what they're doing.
I know.
Yeah. So make sure that I don't have a as is up, but make sure that you're countering the things. That's a good point, Daryl. So counter the things that, you know, take the offer for what it is. That's why I guess that's why they all have a if left blank this much. So counter the things that you want to counter, like the 15-day inspection.
He didn't even put the seller's names on there, but I can tell him to put that on.
Yeah, well, that's something I mean, how many times you guys get offers and you have to change the seller's name anyway or something that you can do and have your sellers initial it and send it back to them for initials.
Right.
For the buyers. I mean, a lot of times, I mean, you guys have gotten offers that are good offers that say of record, you know, for owner, because that's what you put in the MLS, or that's how lazy they are. They just put of record. They didn't want to look it up. Or they didn't change it. They clicked directly onto Form Simplicity or Transaction Desk from MLS, and that's the way it printed up. So, yeah.
My other offer, the guy must have like hand typed it all. I was so shocked because it's so easy to copy and paste from like the MLS. I mean, to me, that's what you should do because you're going to make mistakes. And the legal description was incorrect, the way he typed it. So
some people don't know. They don't come to training. They don't know that you can just go straight from the MLS. They think they have to write an offer from an Adobe, you know, or they write it from Transaction Desk, but they don't realize they could have linked it, or, you know, all of those things. So it's a lot more work for them, and it's a lot less accurate.
Exactly.
Some people don't know that they can do that. Some people don't go to training. Some people, you know, got their license last Tuesday and signed up for the board, etc. So that's just the way it is. And you guys think that those people go away when the market gets tough. They don't necessarily. And, you know, there's people out there getting their license right now and starting in the business, which is great. They just need to be trained, you know, which is why we do stuff like this, which is why some of the stuff we're going to do today is going to be elementary to you guys. But I still see agents who do a lot of business make a lot of mistakes on basic forms, or they don't have a full understanding of basic forms. So we're going to go over those today. But one of the major point I wanted to make with all that was that you when you're listing something right now, you have no idea how long it's going to take to sell. I'm not seeing any pattern whatsoever. You guys aren't seeing any pattern. You guys will tell me I've got this really hot listing and I think it's going to sell in a week, and it sits. And then, you know, the other ones, I can't figure out why this isn't selling. And I look at it. You guys will send me, a lot of you guys in this thing right now have sent me your listings before and said, I can't figure out why this isn't, I'm not getting showings, I'm not getting offers, etc. And I look at it, it's a beautiful house and it seems reasonably priced in a good area. And they're just not doing it. We have one in Kissimmee, I mentioned to you guys last week, in a good neighborhood, and there are 7 houses within a quarter mile for sale that are just like it. And there's just lots of houses for sale and no buyers, not getting anything, getting one showing a week, and no offers. And it's a nicely kept, really nice house, doesn't need anything. So there's lots of not knowing out there, but this is when you want to be offering your open houses. I do see you guys doing open houses. We're seeing on our Facebook page a lot more people wanting to do open houses, people doing open houses, some crazy guy on there trying to buy open house signs. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Daryl, will you unmute for a minute and tell me what's going on with your open house sign search?
Actually, I just posted it this morning and telling everybody what the offers or the estimates that I got, and they were all over the place. Fast Signs was the most expensive, like $250 or something for 10 signs, which was totally insane. And then actually, Graphics Direct, they matched my other lowest one, so they won. Since they won for FRI because you approved them. Yeah. They won. Ray was really well, and he said I'll definitely match the other person. So I got it all on the website though. I showed all my estimates.
That's awesome.
It took some heavy negotiating with Ray. We were going back and forth with emails, and I said sorry to be a pain in the butt, but this is what I do.
Right. That's awesome. Good for you, man. And good for all of you guys. Yeah, we've used Graphic Direct since I've been here. I knew the owner previously. And they do all of our signs. They did. Melina, who is our office manager, she ordered our open house signs, and she got them because we had just done for sale signs with the grommets. She got our open house signs with grommets too, which we don't need because you never hang them anywhere. They just go on the H. So we have those. By the way, guys, we have tons of the I don't know what you call them, the H's to put them in the ground. So we have tons of those for the corrugated plastic signs. If you guys ever need an extra, 5 or 10 or something, we have them at the office. If you guys need open house signs, now Daryl wanted his branded to him. If you guys want generic FRI open house signs, we have those at the office. Daryl, you know what we pay for them. So we do take $20 deposit per sign. You get it 100% of it back when you bring it back. So we loan them to you with a deposit because they do typically tend to disappear. So be careful when you're putting them out too. Daryl, you know how much they cost for your own branded ones also. Do not put them places they do not belong, or that code enforcement will get them. Typically, you're pretty safe on weekends, but some overzealous HOA people will grab them. You'll lose open house signs out there in the world. So be careful with them because they're not that cheap. Yes, Tammy.
So Daryl, did you put your name on these signs? Or just FRI?
I did. Yes, okay. I did. I've got FRI on the bottom. They look almost exactly like our FRI open houses. They just have my branding on it, which says Williamsburg Realtor Daryl. That's all it is.
Okay. And your phone number? No, you did put your phone number on there.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe so. I'll have to go back and look. I can't remember.
Yeah. So he wanted branded ones. We have generic FRI ones that just have arrows, and open house arrows and FRI. Okay, guys, we're going to go into the listing agreement. Do you guys have any questions on anything else? Any of the other addenda that you use for listings? Your homeowner association, condo owner association, all of those things, guys. I tell you guys, this is a serious business. Those are serious disclosures that need to be made, and it's what keeps you out of lawsuits. It's what keeps us all out of lawsuits, is disclosing that there's an HOA and there are rules to the HOA. There's a reason we have to disclose all that, especially condo owners associations. Some of them have the first right of refusal for a sale that goes on. Some of them, and some of them take complete advantage of that, which is crazy. When I say that, they kind of, we've seen them kind of control who comes and goes from a neighborhood, ownership wise. It's pretty crazy. Some of them have rental restrictions, obviously, for people who want to invest and rent it out, and they can't rent it out for 2 years. We've had those lawsuits come around. But because people don't know the rules, people don't want a lot of rentals in their neighborhood, so they don't know the rules. I am going to present this now. Okay, I've been over this before. I want to cover some specific things here, because I still get questions on these. You guys know what a modification to listing agreement is, right? Anything you want to change on here before it's on the market, after it's on the market, you're supposed to get them when you change prices. I'm okay with getting things in writing. If they want to lower their price, they want to do whatever, don't just talk to them on the phone and they say lower the price, and then you lower the price and they get mad later at you and say you lowered the price without our consent. Guys, everything, we never want to have a confrontational relationship with our clients, obviously, but they do tend, if things don't go well, to turn on you. As you guys know, they've done it to you guys, right? Has anybody had a client turn on them before? They thought they had a good relationship, then things didn't go well, and the client says it's your fault. Yeah, you've all had that before, right? Cover yourselves in writing when they want to lower a price, they want to do this, they want to do that. They want to take a certain kind of fine. Okay, we will take FHA now. You know, a lot of sellers have been burnt before by certain types of loans, FHAs, VAs, something like that. They think that's what it was. Maybe the previous realtor said that's because it was an FHA, you know, whatever that. And a lot of times they are different, right? You have to make those repairs before closing if it's FHA. You have to have it in a certain condition if it's a VA or FHA. So just if you're going to change this, which we'll look at here in a second, if you're going to change anything on here, make sure it's in writing. I'd like to get a modification listing agreement, including if you're going to go farther on the, if you want to extend it, right? If you're going to extend the listing, nothing else is changing, but you want it to go past this 6 months, it hasn't sold, it's been 5.5 months, let's do that. Okay. Obviously the top part's easy. Florida Realty Investments is what goes here. That's the broker's name. I am the 3/18/2024. Today, you guys know, is the 13th. Why would I do the 18th? Just, I mean, there's no reason, particularly the 18th, but that gives me time to have photos, gives me time to get everything prepared for it. I have to have this thing on the market by whatever date this says, or 1 business day after that. Okay? Not by whatever date. You guys know you can't put it in early either. You do it on that date or within 1 business day of that date, right? So the reason I said that, I'm giving myself 5 days to get this done. Now this says 3/18/2024. What if I send this to John and Maria today and they sign it today? What's my listing date?
Today?
No, my listing date,
Tomorrow.
my listing date is right here. The beginning date of the listing is right here. I could get John and Maria can say, you know what, we want to sell this house. We're going out of town next week, but we want to sell this thing starting on April 1st. They can sign this for April 1st, and they can sign it today. It doesn't count until April 1st, but they get it signed. Maybe I tell them I want a signed listing agreement with a cancellation before I go, you know, hire a photographer and do all that. I probably wouldn't tell them that, but maybe that's what I want. And so I say, let's get this signed today and I'll get started on your listing. So we'll have it ready to go on the market on April 1st. Okay. Yes, Daryl.
And would that be a pocket listing until then?
No, nope. I have no rights on this contract until then. So all the contract, pocket listing, all the terms of this contract do not apply until April 1st or whatever date is on this. In this case, March 18th. Okay. So if I find a buyer for them today, let's say I do this and then I run into my brother who says he wants to buy this house that John and Maria are finally selling. I want to buy that house. I'm going to have to get a commission agreement from John and Maria, or modify this to today and send them an offer from my brother. Okay. Or whatever. Right. So, because I do not have,
do we have to put an exclusive, from the MLS with the date difference, or you don't because you're going to list it on the date that the contract says?
The date of the contract says. This is this is the governing thing for that triggers everything. It doesn't matter what these dates. We're going to go down to page 4 where they sign. Those dates next to their name do not matter. This date matters. right? Obviously those matter if they're after this date. You need to change this date. That's when you do a modification with it or whatever. Just write a new one with, if they haven't signed it yet by this date. So let's say they leave town and they don't sign it and they don't get back till the 25th. And now I've got to change this date to whenever I'm going to actually put on the market, 25th or after that. Okay. So they can sign it now and not list it until December. It doesn't matter. Okay. They can sign it now. And the only date that matters is this one. Nothing else applies on this form until except between this date and this date. Okay. That's when this form applies. Now, I use the ERS TB 18. That is a transaction broker form. You guys know that you have run into each other out here in the market. We are going to discuss again at the end when it comes to additional terms, when you guys do a dual or variable commission of, if I sell this for you, it's not going to be 6%. I'm only going to do it for 4%, right? You need to put not if Florida Realty Investments gets buyer and seller, because if Tammy has a listing and Harvey brings a buyer, you just cut everybody's commission to 4% total, okay? Because you put under the broker. If you say, Tammy needs to say, if Tammy Pipkin gets both, represents both seller and buyer, Tammy will lower, or Florida Realty Investments will lower their commission to 4%, okay? If Tammy represents both, not Florida Realty Investments, okay? So if you're going to be fancy and do a variable commission, you need to make sure that you do it right and don't put the broker, put your agent name. Okay. So another thing that you guys run into a lot, I get a lot of questions on. I don't get an offer for this. It's March through September 17th. On August 24th, I get an offer on this and we go under contract until October 3rd closing date. Okay. So my closing date's October 3rd. Do I need to extend this?
Yes.
Not for that date, not to get paid for that contract. I need to extend it if I want to still be listing it. If this contract falls through, then yes, I need to extend it. Okay. So if that buyer, if John Smith puts this under contract on August 24th and it doesn't close, not set to close till October 3rd, if John Smith backs out after his 30 days, which would be around September 24th, he backs out, I no longer have this listing. If he closes, then this listing applied 100%. I have the exclusive right of sale. I get paid. Okay.
So you wouldn't get a notification from the MLS saying that you're
you will, and you should contact your client and get it extended. I'm just saying, if you had it under contract, maybe your client said, you know what, if this doesn't work, we're going to take it off the market. Then in that case, you don't need to extend this, but you don't need to extend it to closing to get paid for that closing. That's what I've had you guys ask that before. You know, this closes tomorrow. But my listing's expired. Do I need to extend my listing so I get paid? No, not so you get paid. That contract happened during the listing agreement. If you want to still have the listing after in case they back out, then yes, of course you do, right? Because then your listing is done. Your listing expired on that date anyway, but the business that happened during that, between March and September, is business that this applies to. Okay, does everybody understand that? So if you want this listing, if John Smith backs out, you want this listing still, then yes, they need to modify their listing agreement and change the expiration date. Okay, so hopefully another 6 months or however long they want to. Okay. I made this up. Obviously, you're going to pull all this from the property appraiser site. This will all be in here, guys. This is where you have to protect yourself from your clients. You protect yourself and the brokerage from your clients. This is where you put what they're going to leave in the house. They are going to leave the washer and dryer. You guys quit buying washers and dryers. You guys do this once a month. You end up buying somebody's washer and dryer because you get to the closing table and someone took it and they weren't supposed to, but it wasn't clear in the contract. And you make it clear here in the contract, everywhere else. Washer and dryer is a big one because that is not listed automatically in the contract. Okay, all these other ones, refrigerator, range, all this stuff are listed in the contract. Washer and dryer are not listed specifically in the as-is contract or the standard contract. You're going to have to write them in there, but go ahead and put it here. You're also going to put it in your MLS data entry sheet that you're going to do, that they're going to leave that if they've agreed to leave that. Figure that out, what appliances they're leaving. People will. If a $775,000 listing is only coming down $5,000 in price, those are people you got to watch taking their Samsungs out of the house and replacing them with a scratch and dent, or taking them out and just leaving the stub outs, right? Those, if they're being picky over $5,000 on an $800,000 house, those are the people that take their fancy Samsungs. You make sure they realize that whatever ones are there for showing, and whichever ones were there in the pictures are the ones you have to leave, or we disclose it, which is fine. Yes, Tammy.
How do you, so the current listing that I have, they've got all this like custom cabinetry and some things, but they were initially, when I walked through the house, they were leaving all of that because it's kind of built in. So when we got this contract and it was lower, they were like, well, almost like they might take the cabinetry work, but this guy doesn't really know anything because he wasn't at any of the open houses, that agent. But people that came to the open house, I said, yeah, the cabinetry stay in because that's what they told me initially. And it's bolted to the wall. And so how do you handle with people that they kind of leave things sort of up in the air? I know you need to pinpoint them down, but how do you handle like
that's so do you guys want to counter at 760 and we take the cabinets with us? Because it has to be a negotiation point. Anything that's a fix to the house that you want to take, you're changing the deal. And it says in the contract, it says that fixed items are, things that are fixed are staying.
Right.
Includes ceiling fans, includes whatever. You don't have to include cabinet. That's obviously fixed to the house.
Yeah.
If you want to take it,
I mean, they were custom cabinets that they had built, but they are bolted to the wall. Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Okay. So that's obviously if I have a fancy TV sitting on a piece of furniture, that's not staying. But if the buyer says, boy, we'd like to buy it for, a little more money, but we want that TV to stay, then that's for me to decide. Right. So
right.
If I want to take my cabinets, that's a countering. I'm countering if I'm going to take my cabinets. I'm changing the deal. Yeah, I might take a little bit less money, but I'm taking my cabinets if I do.
Okay.
And you've had people do that and say, yeah, but I'm not leaving my refrigerator.
Right.
If they want to buy it for a little bit less. It's a countering point, and you have to be very clear where you write it in the contract or on an addendum and they sign it. Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
I forget where else we were going with that, but okay, that's great. That's great. Just protect yourselves, protect your clients, protect everybody, and disclose this stuff all the way through. This one has not currently occupied by a tenant. If it is, obviously you put where the lease expires. The price, cash, conventional, VA, FHA. This is where I was talking about before. All these terms can be changed by modification later. If they get mad because you had a VA or FHA come in, whatever, we also can just decide not to take contracts like that. But if I'm going to change this in the MLS, I need to modify my listing agreement. If I'm going to take those options off on the MLS so I don't get a bunch of FHA and VA offers. So why would I do that? So I get an FHA offer for full price. If I have a house for this $499, okay, I give FHA offer for full price. They do an FHA appraisal, and the appraisal comes back at $470. That appraisal sticks for 6 months. Any other government appraisal after that is going to not be any different than $470. They're gonna refer to that appraisal. That one is done. So I still want $499. My client still wants $490 at the lowest, right? We're not going to be able to take FHA or VA for 6 months. So we would modify our listing agreement to that effect. Okay. So everybody got that?
Isn't a VA appraisal different than the FHA?
They stick for 6 months though.
The VA, but the FHA affects the VA appraisal?
Appraisal doesn't affect the VA appraisal, but either one is going to stick with that kind of loan for 6 months. So they're individually or together, either one. But you'll probably explain to your client that, and they'll probably say, well, I don't want to mess with any of these. I just want conventional. Okay. Or whatever the case is. Now they can do that just in writing to you. So just to verify, you guys don't want to do any more FHA or VAs for the next 6 months. Yes, that sounds good. That's fine. Just cover yourself. Okay. Because what you don't want to do is have somebody, I offered you guys full price and your agent didn't present it to you. And it's because you told them we can't do FHA or VA. You told the other agent that. Okay. But it's because the client told you. So just cover yourself. Get everything in writing. I got 3 questions in order. Juliana.
Yes, in my case, I have 2 listings. They've been sitting on the market for a long time. The owners don't want to bring down the price, but they decided to rent now. Mm-hmm. So if it gets rented, how do I update that on the MLS that the property has been rented and just put the renting dates?
So they still want to sell it even if they rent it? So they're
Yeah, they
investment
still want to
properties.
sell it. Yes, they are both
Okay.
investing properties, but they want to rent it in the meantime that they wait for it to get
Beautiful.
sale.
Beautiful. And they're going to have you list it for them for rent as well?
Yes.
Okay, you can have both. I get this question all the time. Yes, you can have both listings active on MLS at the same time. You can have both listings at the same time. You can be, people are going to contact you to rent it. People are going to contact you to buy it. There is a, you will, when it is rented, you will edit your listing. There is a place on there to put that it is rented, what the rental amount is, when it expires, etc. You're just selling it as an investment. It's perfectly fine. You leave it right as residential, whatever you have it as on MLS. It's perfectly fine. But yes, so there's a place to edit it to put that. You guys have seen that before. When you look at a listing, it says it is leased. It's leased through September 30th, and it's leased for $1,500 a month, whatever the case is. And yeah, you'll absolutely just edit your listing to say that and keep it for sale.
Okay, and just to do edit that listing, do I need any type of addendum or anything, or just update
No,
the listing?
No,
Okay.
you're putting the truth on there. It's all things that you have in writing. You handled it, so you have it all in writing.
Okay,
You'll have a copy of the lease. You will at least have a, you
Right.
don't need to do anything with the copy of the lease. Just keep a copy of it, so you can back up that you made those changes because they were factual.
Okay, and one more question.
Yes.
We had someone interested in renting the property, and they have a voucher for Section 8
Okay.
on the application, so that the funds come to you guys. Do I put
Well, funds come to you guys for what?
from Section 8?
Well, is this a property we manage?
No, so it's
Okay.
their property, but we got someone that had Section 8, and then on the application ask who the owner is and where the funds would be sent to.
They would be sent to the owner. I mean, or whoever's managing it.
Well, I'm not no, they're gonna manage it, but
Okay, well, then it'll be the owner. They sent to the owner. We don't have anything to do with that.
right, okay. Just wanted to make sure, because they send the money and I don't handle any monies, so we'll just have it sent directly to the owner.
Doesn't Section 8 the property has to be approved for Section 8?
Yes, and we
Okay.
are in the process of getting an inspector coming in to get it approved. But the person already has the voucher, so they sent us the application, and we had to fill out all this paperwork, and they're asking where the funds are gonna go. So they'll send the rent money
Well, send it to the
directly
owner.
to the owner.
Yeah, to the owner. That's common.
Okay,
Anything
and
that's not
then
managed, that goes to the owner.
okay, and then I'll have the owner write a commission to Florida Realty Investment.
Yes,
Okay.
you absolutely can do that. Just make sure that they write everything that needs to be on there, the address and your name, etc.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's hard for us to figure out. We get a
Another
random
loss.
check for $2,000 from someone
Right.
we don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
All right.
we'll do that. Thank you.
Yes, and that's part of the reason you guys put your all of your client information in paperless pipeline as well. Anne.
Yes, I have a question regard to buying agent. Is it okay, or have to be stick in listing?
Yeah, go ahead. No, that's fine.
Okay, I am a buyer agent, and I just got the contract last week, and my buyers, we negotiate full furniture, extra 3,000, and the listing agent told me that we should put that, not put in the main contract, at least contract, just put on addendum to avoid appraisal and lender. So is it okay? Is it protect us?
It's not an addendum. Do a bill of sale and make the bill of sale contingent on the closing going through. Obviously, you don't want the furniture if the closing doesn't go through. So you don't want to be, have them take you to small claims to buy $3,000 worth of furniture with no house. So make it contingent on the closing going through. Okay. Yes, lenders do not want to see furniture sales, any non-affixed items on a thing. They're not loaning money on that. They can't loan money on that. So that's not real property. They have to loan money. Mortgages are on real property, not on furniture or TVs or anything else. So yes, the furniture has to be done by a bill of sale, separate bill of sale, but I'm telling you to make it contingent on the closing happening.
The bill of sale, is it anywhere in the
That's
system?
it's just a paper you draw up. Just Google a bill of sale, just see how they're done.
Okay.
And just put furniture. You'll list out all the furniture that they're going to leave for them, and you put a price for it. And that, in this case, $3,000 at the end for all of those items of furniture. It's just a bill of sale. I promise, and Wynn promised to sell you, Ryan Langley, this furniture for this amount. Okay. And this agreement at the bottom, this agreement is contingent on the closing of 123 Oak Street or whatever the street name. Don't put them. All right.
What I did is just put on the additional addendum, say that the buyer and seller agree, the price is $493.
Here's the problem with
full
addendum. Here's the problem with addendum. I'll cut you off here, and I see this a lot. We have this a lot. Okay. Here's the
Mhm.
problem with that. It is fraud if you don't give every addendum to the lender. The lender doesn't want this. And a lot of you guys do this. A lot of you guys are out there right now listening to the sound of my voice who have done an addendum for this before. And you're saying, oops, I committed fraud. There is something you put with a lender that says you've presented, you have no outside deals that they don't know about or whatever. They can know about this, but it cannot be an addendum. An addendum has to be, every addendum has to be presented to the lender. Obviously, they don't want some addendum out there that negates the things that they're loaning on, right? So any addendum has to be presented to the lender, is supposed to be presented to the lender. There are even lenders who will say, oh, just do it by addendum. Do not do that by addendum. That's fraud if you don't give every single piece of relevant information to the lender, every piece of a contract. An addendum becomes a piece of a contract. If you do not give the entire contract to the lender, that is fraud. Okay, so do it by bill of sale, which is a legal document, but is not part of the contract. But it can be contingent. The bill of sale is contingent on the contract closing, because so we don't end up buying furniture for a house that fell through. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Hopefully that you guys heard that, even if you don't have that question right now, because you will have it in the future. Daniel.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, once they do an appraisal on the house and the buyer backs out, another buyer comes in, we have to do another appraisal on it, or can we use that same appraisal?
No, the new buyer is going to do it. So lenders order appraisals. Lenders going to want their own appraiser to do their own appraisal. Now, it's not their own, by the way. They don't handpick them. They put it out for open bid, and so it's a blind system. So so lenders aren't committing fraud by having their best friend go appraise everything at $1 million and they get to do every loan. That way they're not fraudulently getting loans on stuff. But no, every lender is going to want their own appraisal done. And if a house just fell through because of the appraisal, you probably don't want the same appraisal. But no, everybody's got to get their own appraisal.
Even though it'll be different.
Sometimes a lender will accept a recent enough appraisal. So there are times that can happen. You can ask,
Okay.
but the buyer's paying for it. So
If the lender accepts it, then we go with it, right?
of course.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, if the lender's happy with it, the price matches and everybody's happy with it. Yes.
Yeah, okay. All
right.
right, thank you.
You bet. Victoria.
Oh, hi. Two questions. I think, where can I find that bill of sale document?
I would just Google one. I don't have one. It's just, a bill of sale is a common thing that you do. If you sell me your car and I have to go get it registered, we'll do a bill of sale. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I
Florida
buy a car
Realtor-
off the side of the road. I would have the owner do a bill of sale so I can go get it registered. And I
Okay. So the Florida Realtor Board doesn't have like an official document. for
I
that?
don't know. They wouldn't have a furniture bill of sale. No.
Okay. And then I know we were talking about fixtures earlier, but would a security camera on top of the garage and in front of the door be considered a fixture?
Not typically, but I'd want to have those. I'd want to have those listed somewhere. That
I
I'm taking
think
it
they
with me.
added that into the contract, doorbells and I don't know if cameras are on there or not.
Yeah, I didn't
well-
write on there. Now they're taking it.
Okay, so yeah, if they're not, then that's fine. But I don't like that because these are things that are privacy invasive, and if someone already has it attached to their computer or they're already getting a feed for it, I don't know. I don't like that. I'd rather you take them with me and let me get my own. Take them with you and let me get my own. But that's my personal thing. That has nothing to do with the law. I do not know if they're on the contract. I haven't seen them on the contract.
So cameras are not considered fixtures then?
I don't know what Tammy says
Okay.
it's on the contract now. I don't know.
I can look it up. Thank you.
I'm going to look it up too. Any other questions before we go forward? Okay. Obviously the financing, we just talked about all that. Guys, if you're doing seller financing, etc., here's where you do it. These you can leave blank. I don't know if you guys know this. When we get down to the commission, wait a minute. Okay. This stuff, guys, typically you're not going to check these, display the property on the internet except the street address. You guys always are pretty much putting the street address on there. You want that on there. Seller does not authorize broker to display the property on the MLS. You do have these from time to time. If you do that, that must be checked. Okay. Seller understands and acknowledges a broker. Okay. Marketed by, okay. Check if applicable. Use a lockbox system to show and access the property. If this is applicable, obviously you do this. Withhold verbal offers. Withhold all offers once seller accepts a sales contract for the property. This is how I like to do it. You know, I want the ability to tell them about verbal offers, at least give them an idea of what's going on with the property. If you want to withhold them, then you can. Make sure they sign this with that checked, though. And withhold all offers once seller accepts a sales contract for the property. Guys, if you don't want to muddy the waters, depending on the market and stuff, I like to click that one. And I can always, with their permission, share something with them, but I don't have to. Virtual office website. Okay. Seller does not authorize an automated estimate of the market value of the listing. If you go on Zillow and Realtor and their estimate is lower, significantly lower than what you're going to list this house for, you'll want to get rid of that, which you can do on the final page. You guys know that when you're listing a property on the Realtor page, you can get rid of these estimates and stuff like that. I always click this, does not authorize third parties to write comments or reviews about the listing. This is never helpful. If somebody liked it, they would buy it. They would put an offer on it. If they don't like it, you don't need them to say, house was overpriced, not publicly. House was overpriced. You don't want your feedback public a lot of times. Neighborhood was sketchy. It looked like the neighbor was outside, fighting, having a dog fight, something like that. You don't want that stuff on there. Backyard too small, whatever it is, place smells like drugs. You don't want any of that stuff on there. Okay. It's never helpful. It's never good stuff. These make all legally required disclosures, including all facts materially affect the property's value and are not readily observable or known by the buyer. Seller certifies and represents the seller knows of no such material facts other than the following. This is where they either tell you that, look, the roof's leaking, or whatever, we've got a septic problem, nothing will flush there. Whatever, they tell you that, and you put it here, and it's going to be on the seller's property disclosure as well. But this is what you put that there. If it's none, they told you, oh, the house is in great shape, then you put none there. That protects you. They're going to sign this form that says there's nothing out there that we know of. Compensation, 6% plus your $350. However you guys want to do this. Some of you don't charge them, you pay it yourself. Some of them are $175, some of them are $499. Whatever you guys want to do here, the 6% is there. If you're going to do something else, an option, if they've said they'll take option, they'll take a lease value, leasing fee, etc., then that's that. You guys are very rarely doing that. This is where you put the tail on this. This is where you write the 60, 90 days, whatever it is here. You're putting a tail on this agreement. So if you've shown it to someone, this agreement expires on September 17th, but I've shown it to someone and they come back on October 15th to buy the property that I showed it to them in August, and they come back now and they're ready to buy, I'm still protected in this. Okay. Even though that the thing's been terminated. If the client, guys, sometimes the client will try to terminate you early. You will get some shady people and they'll try to terminate you early or do something like that to try not to pay you, but you're going to have a tail on this. Okay. It's what we call a tail. It's just a 60-day protection period after the termination date, which could be, it could be the natural termination date, or if they cancel. Retained deposits. Most of you guys don't know this, but when your seller gets to keep someone's deposit, if you didn't fill this out, they sign something saying that you get 50%. So if they keep $5,000, you could technically keep $2,500 if you have been leaving this blank, probably out of out of just not doing it. But you have been entitled to 50% of their deposits. Cooperation with, okay, this is where we get it. This is where you guys always get the question. It says 6% plus 3%. So is that 9% commission? You guys get that question a lot. No, 6% is the total. This is where you're authorizing me to compensate buyer's brokers, right? Buyer's representatives, buyer's agents. This is where you're authorizing me to do this. You're authorizing me to give them 3% if they're a single agent, 3% if they're a transaction broker, and I did 1%. You can do 3% here, whatever, 0% if they're a no brokerage relationship. Have you guys dealt with a lot of no brokerage relationship people?
That's what I wanted to ask you. I just had a girl send me a commission agreement because I guess she's not in the MLS, and that's what I was wondering. When does this 1%, what kind of people, what is a no brokerage relationship, and when would that come into play?
That's not what that is. She's not in the
Okay.
MLS. She's still a licensed real estate agent who has whatever, probably a transaction brokerage relationship with her buyer, because you guys know that you're assumed to be transaction broker in the state of Florida. If you do not have a single agent paperwork or a no brokerage relationship paperwork, then you're a transaction. That's the only three things you can be. You're assumed to be transaction broker. If you do a buyer's brokerage agreement as a single agent, again, I don't recommend that you do, but if you do, then you're a single agent. And if you have a no brokerage relationship with that person, then you're going to have that paperwork for that. Why would you do that? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know why anyone would have a no brokerage relationship and be out looking for a house for them. Okay,
Yeah.
no brokerage relationship is what you do when you already represent somebody and you're letting the other party know that I don't represent you. I'm selling my own house and you called in off my sign in my yard. You want to buy my house. I don't represent you. This happened to me before. I sold a house to a neighbor. Okay, but the neighbor's, her sister was moving down from New Jersey and wanted to buy my house. I sold it, no brokerage relationship. Okay. I didn't even have my house listed, but I told them I was going to sell and they wanted to buy it, which is great, but I still did a no brokerage relationship because I am a licensed real estate agent in the state of Florida. Doesn't have anything to do with me being on MLS, doesn't have anything else to do with it. Just, I'm a licensed real estate agent. I don't represent them in this contract. A reasonable person would know that they are not being represented by a professional. Okay. So in this case, I'm offering 3%, 3%, and 1% for that. I've never seen this before. Some people do 0, whatever. One thing, I'm glad you mentioned that, Tammy. So someone sends you a commission agreement. They can now, and I've gone over this with you guys before, and I've told you do not do this. Now you're seeing the Florida Association of Realtors put out stuff saying you can negotiate your commission. You can, even if it's in MLS, you can, because of the antitrust stuff that they're so worried about, you can now negotiate your commission as a buyer's agent. That's what they're sending out just in the last couple of months. That they want to remind you this is not a monopoly. You can
But do we have the freedom to?
Your seller does, and this is where you have to be careful. This is what we don't like about the system, okay? Because your seller authorized here originally this.
Yeah.
But if I say, that 775 thing, Tammy, I sent you an offer for okay, so you got an offer for 750. Now, what if they say, if the seller says, or the buyer says, I'll offer you, or the seller comes back and says, I'll sell it for 750, but we're not paying commission, or we're only paying 1% commission. You know what now? Can they negotiate you out of your commission? Not if you have a listing agreement. Okay, they can't negotiate you out of your commission, but someone can ask for a higher commission percentage, like the person who sent in the commission agreement. She's not in MLS, that's fine. That's why she feels protected. There are brokers who will try not to pay you if you're not in MLS. There are brokers who will try not to pay you if you're not in their MLS. But if you're not a realtor at all, they feel like they don't need to pay you at all. That's not really legal, but this is an MLS offer of compensation. So, but if you have a signed agreement where you say this, if you don't say, I don't have to pay a commission to someone who's not in the MLS, they are still a licensed real estate agent and they are still legal and they are still representing someone. They should not be using the as is any FAR forms. They're not allowed to do that.
They did. Mine did.
Well, they're not supposed to. But I mean, do you want to get a deal done, or do you want to fight them on their? And it's not a violation, so you have to sue them. The Florida Association of Realtors have to sue them because you can't take them to the board. They're not a member of the board. So I won't get into the board and how toothless they can be sometimes, but they do have sharp teeth if you are a member. Angie, or Daryl, sorry, Daryl first, then Angie.
Nope, Angie was first.
Oh, well, it moved you around. Angie. All right, Daryl.
Okay. Why would I not put 3% in all three slots? Because
You can't-
why would I worry that there's no brokerage relationship with the buyer?
Daryl, that's what I would do. I put 3.
Okay. I think that confuses a lot of people. Totally
It
confuses
definitely
a lot of people.
confuses.
Because I see it on the MLS almost on every listing, 3, 3, and 1. And I'm like, why are you only paying 1 for, why does it matter to you?
Daryl, we had an agent who really didn't understand this and so she had a 6% listing, but 4.5 if she got both sides. So she put as transaction broker 4.5 right here, not understanding that she would pay someone else 4.5 because she didn't understand the thing. That's why I want to go over these forms and make sure everyone understands these forms and how they work. This is the part you're offering to the other side. It is a part that shows up on the MLS as being offered to the other brokerage. Okay.
To me, you're doing a disservice to your seller because you're not offering 3% like you are with the other brokerages.
Yes. You and I know that that you're not going to run into a no brokerage relationship out there. So there isn't anyone like that. But I want people who aren't in our MLS or people who aren't in any MLS to bring me a buyer, and I'll happily pay them the 3% if it's getting my seller what they want. The more offers, the better for my seller, right? The more people who have access, the better. Angie, she's back.
Yeah, I was pressing the wrong button. Okay, so I was under the impression that we used 1% there because those people that have no brokerage relationship would be maybe representing themselves. So if I'm buying a property as an investment, the property's on the MLS, I would only get 1% as the agent.
No, absolutely not. You represent yourself, single agent. You're a single agent for yourself. You're a whole fiduciary for yourself. That has nothing to do with people representing themselves.
Then what is it? Yeah, I still don't understand what it's really for then. Nothing?
I don't either, except that these are the 3 kind of relationships you can have. This is legally covers every relationship. This is the only kind of relationship that you can have with everybody in the world. You have a transaction broker relationship with your neighbor, and the next person you see at Publix or anywhere else, you have that relationship with them because that's what you're assumed to be for them.
Okay.
You have to have a no brokerage relationship signed with someone to not have a broker relationship with them. Okay. So
All right.
I don't know.
Okay. Then the other thing I was going to say is I'm glad that you mentioned that the commission can be paid or negotiated now afterwards by the other side, because I recently got an offer. My seller is only paying 2% to the buyer's agent. And I got an as-is contract with a VA buyer, and his agent also sent in a commission agreement at 3% for the seller to pay. So would that be the right way to send it in as a separate commission agreement, especially when it's a VA buyer and they can't pay commissions to their agent?
Correct. So that would be the correct way to send it in. Yes. It doesn't add to the 2%. It replaces the 2% that was being offered.
Okay. So if he was to sign that, he didn't agree to it, but if he was to sign it, it would replace the 2% and it would be flat 3% to this other agent.
Correct.
Okay. All right. And then when we're on the buyer side and we want to do that, and it's maybe not a VA because the VA buyers can't pay us, but this is maybe off topic, so I'm sorry, but with the as-is contract and putting in an offer, and putting the commission in, can we put it in the as-is contract as the seller paying it? We still need to put it as our buyer getting a credit and then paying us.
I'm sorry, what part was that for?
So if a seller is offering a low commission or no commission, can we as a buyer's agent put a seller paid commission to a brokerage in the additional terms of a contract?
I wouldn't do that. I would just send a commission agreement. And don't do your little name and 2.5% or your name and 3% at the bottom.
That doesn't mean anything, right?
That doesn't mean anything to anyone. So, so do not do that. Do a commission agreement. I would like to see a separate commission agreement signed by the seller, acknowledging that this offer, any offer that Angie brings me on this particular house is going to be 3%.
Yeah. Okay. And then but we could put it in what I've been doing when the commission is low and it wants to be, I've done it as a buyer's in the buyer's closing cost section of the
Mhm.
contract, 1% to like the buyer closing will pay 1% to Florida Realty Investments, 1% of purchase price to Florida Realty Investments. And then in the additional terms, getting my client either 1% or 3% more towards their closing costs. So then
Yes.
my client's not technically paying it, it's
Yeah,
getting credited from the seller. So that
Yeah,
works.
that's legal. If you're doing a VA deal, then you have to, whatever the lender will approve, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah, they
that's
already told me they
legal,
won't
yes.
approve that.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
I'm sorry, they told you they would or would not approve that?
A VA would not approve any type of commission or any type of credits towards the agent, towards a brokerage on that contract.
Yep. Makes sense. And that's mostly to keep us from taking advantage of them. Like buying our own place VA and taking advantage of them. Okay. So in this one, let's continue to go. The termination at seller's request, broker may agree to conditionally terminate this agreement. This is when they let you know, look, we don't want to sell it, or we're unhappy with you, or we decide it's not moving. Life circumstances have changed. We don't want to sell it. Seller must sign a withdrawal agreement, reimburse broker for all direct expenses incurred in marketing the property, and pay cancellation fee. You can have the $0, you can have a $250, you can have $1,000, whatever they'll agree to. But the expenses incurred in marketing the property, even if you've zeroed this out, they still owe you the $195 for the photographer, or whatever you can legitimately put to this. I mean, you're not going to do gas and stuff to and from the property, but things that you actually spent on their property, you can get reimbursed for that through this agreement. They don't want to pay it, they're mad at you, whatever, small claims, or drop it, because they're not going to, and that's what you can do. Those are your choices. Dispute resolution, obviously they initial these, saying we're going to arbitrate it in the state of Florida, or whatever the area that it's signed. Miscellaneous, the rest of this is just boilerplate. Additional terms, this is where you write the thing where if agent Tammy Pipkin is representing both the buyer and the seller, commission will be a total of 4%, or whatever you want. If you guys want to do that here, do that. I typically would never offer that unless they say, what happens if you represent both sides, or whatever. And when you do this as a transaction broker, you do not have to transition to transaction broker if you get both sides. You guys understand that, right? You do not have to transition to transaction broker if you get both sides, if you use the transaction broker form, which is this one, the ERS TB 18. You'll say it down here, ERS TB 18 TB, which was revised May of 2020. I want to go up to something back where we were though, and show you guys this. I'm expecting this, depending on how things go, to come off line 136. None of the above. If this is checked, property cannot be placed in the MLS. That is where these problems are coming from with the must pay buyer's agent, must offer something in MLS. That's where all these lawsuits have come from. I'm expecting this to be removed, or at least significantly changed in the next update, which I'm surprised I'll be surprised they're not working on it now or haven't done it. And we won't see it soon. I think we will. Just based on the emails that they're getting out, they've realized there's some kind of issue here, and they've started getting out emails about, you can negotiate your commission now. So, which was a big no-no before. Any other questions on the listing agreement? All right. Any other questions on anything? Ann?
Yes, last year I closed the deal with the builder, and they only pay, normally builder pay 3%, but this builder only paid 2.5%. So I tried to negotiate. I say, can you pay me 3%? And I put, and she said that's illegal for me to ask. Is it true?
It might have been, well, not illegal, no, but it might have been last year, but it's not. It's never been illegal. It's been a violation if it was an MLS listed property. But no, it's never, if it's not on the MLS, any property that's for sale, it can absolutely be negotiated. Anything can be negotiated. You can ask for a 10% commission. They don't have to do it. They didn't need to tell you it was illegal. They could have just said no. But it's not, it was never illegal. It's against the MLS rules and the Association of Realtors rules. to negotiate. It was previously to negotiate a buyer's commission beyond what was offered. But to ask the builder for more money is perfectly legal, especially now. A year ago, if it was listed on the MLS, they could say that that's a violation. They couldn't tell you, you can't get arrested.
But now it's okay.
But now it's okay. Yes. You send a commission agreement and a builder is going to not sign it probably, but they might.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. But it's never been illegal. You never get arrested for it. You're just asking for commission. But it's funny they told you it's illegal. Any other questions before we go? Anything else you guys want to talk about? What's going on with you guys? What's going on with your marketing? What's going on with everything? Anybody got something? Nothing. All right. All right. So everything is going very well. I hope you guys do well. If you guys have any questions, any other things, I didn't really go into how to sell this. Guys, there's so many things when you go through these forms. We're going to have to do another class on this, but when you guys go to take a listing, somebody answered me this question. When you go in with all of your paperwork and your CMA, you go to a listing appointment. Do you have a set price for them before you've walked around that house and talked to them? Not really. Are your listing forms filled out? No, right? I would hope that they're not. And this is where your expertise comes in. They're relying on you to go around and talk about what is going on in their house and what they should and shouldn't do before they put it on the market. They're relying on your expertise for that. And if they're not, they should be, right? If they're not, it's just because they hadn't thought about it. They need to be relying on your expertise for that. You guys have dealt with people, you all have, and we've talked about them here in these trainings, and you guys have talked about them to me individually, who feel like they need to repaint their house, they need to do this and do that, and before they put it on the market. Or they, we need to liven this room up before I put it on the market. No, don't liven a room up. Just let the new buyers decide what they want to do with it, right? But there are lots of different things that they do need to do. And you guys, they're counting on your expertise of going around the house with them and telling them how they're going to get the most for their money. What kind of repairs do they want to make? What's going to bring back money? Have you guys, and there are lists out there of what a particular or what an average kitchen remodel costs and how much value it brings. What a bathroom remodel costs and how much new flooring, what it costs and how much value it brings. There's a lot of these things. You guys can get them off of Google. We've had them on here before of what the typical cost for something is and the typical return when they sell. And almost nothing is worth doing before it goes to market, unless it's just bad, unless the house isn't going to show well. Almost nothing's worth doing, but they need you to go and make that determination for them. If the floor's got rotting wood on it, if the ceiling is the roof repair has been fixed but the ceiling's got spots all over it, let's get that ceiling done, right? Because we don't really have a problem there anymore, but let's get the ceiling done so it doesn't look like that, right? So we can sell this thing. Daryl, I'm sorry, Ann first, then Daryl.
Yes, can I have a question in regard to my property I'm going to list very soon?
Okay.
Okay, I have a tenant live in there they didn't pay on time, so I want them to leave next week. I gave them 2 weeks notice already since they paid late and it's out of the contract. So what should I do to be able to list that house, to ask them to leave?
Well, they're under a lease, right?
Yeah, but they violate lease.
Oh, I understand, but there's a process you have to go through the eviction and everything has to be done properly. Are you managing the house or is a
Yes,
property management company? Okay.
I do it myself.
Okay. And have you followed all the things? Have you been instructed by an attorney what notices you need to leave for certain days?
I
and all that
sent
stuff?
them 3 days notice like a few months ago.
Okay, you're telling me I don't know
sent
I don't know the rules. So, but I know there are rules that you have to follow to get them out in a timely thing, and you have to follow up within that when they don't meet the criteria of the notices. You have to follow up with a different kind of notice and take them to court, and everything has to be done right because the court is going to side with the tenants every time if your timing is off on your notices and all that stuff. Evicting someone is not easy. And you guys had to evict people before? It's not easy, right? It's a pain, and it's very technical. and the judge always wants to side with the tenant because they always want to be lenient if they can. And you really need to make sure you're doing it right.
I'd hire an attorney. I'd hire an attorney.
You definitely need a real estate attorney to tell you what to do and when. And it seems like you're in a spot. I would say if you go see an attorney today, you're still 60 days from having them out of that house, probably, even if you do everything right. You may have done stuff right already. They might have you really good news for you and that you can get them out in a couple of weeks, but they might not. So I can't answer that question. I don't know any of the notices and all that stuff. I don't know all the right procedures. I would contact an attorney myself.
Hemi, can I have the attorney that you use, or anybody have recommendation?
Yeah, if somebody will put it in chat, that would be great.
Thank you.
Daryl, you have a hand.
There used to be a appraiser that put out I think it was called a green sheet, and it showed all the estimates on improvements. And I think he put one out actually every year. I wonder if he's still around. That'd be great to get there you go. I knew somebody else would know. I couldn't remember. Oh no, that's an attorney, I think. There you go. No, that's an attorney too. Anyway, somebody should know who that appraiser is. He was around for a long time. It would be good for some of the new agents and stuff, just to see. Actually, it'd be good for me and everybody else too, not just the new agents.
Yeah, we've had one at this before, because we had them sitting around the office. Yeah, an appraiser brought them in and plopped them down on the table in our office. We could try to get. I'll get one of those for next week.
Okay.
Yes, I think you're right, Tracy. We'll try to get one for next week. I just Googled green sheet and it's like a IPO thing for stocks or something. So we'll have to be more specific. Okay. Any other questions or comments before we go? All right, guys. I will see you next week. I will get that green sheet thing. So, but you guys, yes, Viviana.
Yeah, okay. So I have an attorney here. He do the, one moment. He do the, well, how can I get there now? So if everybody wants to write down, just a moment, okay? I'm kind of slow now. One moment.
All right, I'll put it in the chat for you.
Just a moment.
Okay.
Okay, it's called a grant, Kelly and Grant. He do lease and he do the eviction.
What's his name?
The name is Kelly and Grant, PA, landlord and tenant or title and closing. Excellent attorneys. The phone number is 561-672-1161. They do eviction, excellent. They're not here, but they come here if needed to go to the court, and yeah, they're very helpful. And then Ryan, I have a very important question. When finish the meeting, can I call you? It's about one house, very important.
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you.
I did sale rental listings. Yes, I'm gonna go back in the chat. Sorry, I've missed this, guys. I was presenting. Angie, yes, when you do a rental, Zillow sometimes, if it's for sale and rent at the same time, the rental probably doesn't go on Zillow. You guys know that you have to add stuff to Zillow now, and a lot of times you have to pay for rentals, not for sales, but for rentals, you have to pay them by the day or whatever. Usually, I think it's like $1.50 a day or something to post your rentals. They don't do. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. I don't know why. Unless the appraisal, yes, FHA's appraisal stick for 6 months. If they become a transaction, I would get 6% commission or 3% only. You would get the 6%, King. You get 6% if you do it. If you just left it the way I left it, you would get 6% if you represent both sides. But use the transaction broker form, and that way you don't have to transition to transaction broker. All right. All right. Lots of good attorneys. Thank you, everybody. Kelly Kellogg, I believe, is the appraiser who did that sheet. Maybe we'll find out. And any other questions before we go? All right, guys. I will see you next week. We'll have some more interesting stuff, and you guys have a great week. Goodbye, everybody.